What do you dislike and like about the Philippines?
I dislike how some foreigners behave here.
Oh, wow.
I would also add, as a person of color, I'm eating like a king. Be prepared for the obsession with Facebook and rice. I don't know what's going on.
How much your monthly budget? What do you think about having foreign community here in the Philippines?
If I wanted to be part of a foreigners community, I would get back on the airplane and go to Toronto.
Welcome to our YouTube channel. It's me, Roger, and welcome to Roger&Ismi Vlogs. So today's video, we have a special guest and I will ask him about his experience living in the Philippines. But before we start, again, salamat sa inyong pagigugma ug pagsuporta sa among channel. Thank you so much for the love and support, guys. And if you're new to this channel, don't forget to click like, share, and subscribe. And hit the bell icon for new uploads or new videos. Today we have a special guest and I'm very excited and interested about his story about living in the Philippines. So first, can you introduce your name?
Sure, my name is Abdullah.
Abdullah. Okay, nice meeting you, sir. And where are you from?
Born in Toronto, Canada.
Toronto, Canada. Wow. Welcome to the Philippines.
Thank you very much.
Why did you choose Philippines?
I chose Philippines after traveling quite a few different countries, and I had an interest in finding a wife in the country where I would eventually retire. And so after traveling quite a few places, I chose Philippines, and so here I am.
Okay. Wow. So reason why you came to the Philippines because you want to find a wife.
To find a wife and a place where I could retire, and also to be able to have a business too.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. And how long have you been here in the Philippines?
I arrived in October of 2022, so I've been here, I think that's 9 months now, almost 9 months.
9 months? Oh, quite long already.
Yeah, it's been 9 months already.
Okay. So how's your experience so far?
I'm glad I came, and I'm glad I'm still here.
All right. That's great. That's great. Have you been to different islands or places already?
I have. So I landed in Cebu, so I started there, and I have spent 2 months there, and then another 6 months in Mindanao, and then I've been here for about a month in Negros Occidental.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, by the way, welcome here in
Thank
San
you very
Carlos.
much.
So, which do you prefer, Cebu or major cities, or?
It depends on what it is I'm doing. If it's for business, the major cities are a necessity, just for various reasons related to business. So for that reason, Cebu City, Davao, and Bacolod have been places where I've needed to go because of that. But if you're talking about leisure activities and my personal time, then I would say so far Mindanao was just an amazing experience. And Negros, I have fallen in love with this place. Negros Occidental, I can see myself being here a lot longer.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what can you say about the Philippines overall?
It's what I expected, because my family is, my father's side of my family is from the Caribbean. So life in the Caribbean is much like it is here. You know, the faces are different, the language is different, but the weather, the climate, the food, the culture, how people socialize is very similar. So there was no culture shock for me. So I would say that, but also in Toronto there are a lot of Filipinos. So I have a lot of friends who are Filipino, and I've had Filipino friends for years. So, you know, I was not surprised by anything related to culture and that, from that point of view. And it's what I thought it would be. People are friendly. You and I just met and we became friends right away with your lovely family. And this is what I was expecting, and this is exactly what's happened. So I have been very happy that it was what I was hoping it would be.
Okay, so there's no major adjustments when you come to the Philippines?
Only with dating.
Dating, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, what are the lacking amenities here in the Philippines? And if you can add something, that would be great.
Lacking amenities. Well, if we're talking from the point of view of someone from the Caribbean, it's not lacking any amenities, right? If you have a brownout where there's no electricity or a water outage or internet goes down, that's normal in the Caribbean. So if that happens here to me, I don't lose any sleep over it. But if I'm thinking about it as a North American person or a Canadian, then I would say, get used to not having internet at any random moment, or having electricity outage. Sometimes there's no water, right? So that hasn't really disrupted me for any length of time. I haven't been here during a typhoon either, so I haven't experienced any major weather incidents or weather events. But aside from that, being in Cebu, Davao, and Bacolod, you have malls. The Cebu Mall, and I was just there on a short trip just this few days ago. I was telling you, the Cebu Ayala Center is bigger than any mall I've seen in Canada.
Oh.
Yeah, and they have every brand, everything you can imagine is inside that mall. So, when we talk about amenities, if you're in a major city, we're not lacking of any. I'm not lacking of anything, but the minute you leave the major cities and you're into the smaller cities and the smaller towns, well, you might not get access to some of these sort of mainstream brands that you might be accustomed to if you're living in North America.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is a very important question for our viewers. What do you dislike and like about the Philippines? So let's start with the dislike part.
I dislike how some foreigners behave here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate it?
I have observed too many times since I've been here a sense of entitlement by a lot of foreigners. And I've met people from different countries around the world, and so I'm not singling out any particular country, but I have observed it too often, and I find it embarrassing, right? Because as a guest in your country, I feel obligated to adapt to the way things are done here, and not to expect, Filipinos to behave in a way, or to adapt to the Canadian way, or to adapt to the North American way, or a Western, way of thinking or behavior. I don't think that is fair, and I find it offensive.
That's right. Because here's the thing: when Filipino come to the U.S. or any other countries, we adopt the culture, the environment. So I think as a guest, that's one thing. When they come to the Philippines, it's one thing that they need to. Well, that is not an obligation for me. It's my opinion. But since you're a guest, I think it's better for you to adopt, for you to be able to socialize the local, right? Yeah, and it shows respect to the culture and the people.
Yeah, I'd like to add on something on that, since I did not know what questions you were going to ask me. So I'm only responding to the questions you're asking me. I would also add, as a person of color in Canada, I have always been treated like a guest. Even though I'm born and raised there, I feel like a guest. I've always felt that way. I still feel that way. And it's one of the reasons I left, because I got tired of being made to feel that way. So when I came here now, I actually am a guest. So I treat people the way that I would want to be treated.
Okay.
Right? Because I don't get treated that way in Canada, right? And now if you are an immigrant coming to Canada, the so-called local Canadians, right, demand and expect, for the most part, not everybody, I'm not going to say everyone thinks and feels and behaves that way, but most Canadians expect you as a Filipino or Chinese, Indian, wherever you're from, Caribbean, to become Canadian. Now you should be learning how to speak English. You should be adapting to the Canadian way of doing things. This is an expectation that a lot of Canadians have, right? And I don't have any beef with that, because now that person is a guest in Canada, right? But what I find offensive is when those same foreigners, wherever they're from, go to another country now, because I've seen this in the Caribbean too, and now I'm here in the Philippines, I'm seeing the same thing. It's a double standard.
Okay.
There's a double standard there. So going back to your question, what do I dislike? What have I disliked? This is one thing that I have seen too often,
Okay.
And it's one of the reasons where I am now, because the city where I'm living now, there are very few foreigners.
Right.
Right? So I don't have to see that, right? And I don't have to experience that, and I can get a more authentic, I don't know if authentic's the word, but I get to have an experience here that is not distracted, right, by that. Because if you're in a major city like Bacolod, Davao, or Cebu, there's a lot more foreigners, and then how people socialize with you isn't the same as if you come to a smaller place like where we are sitting now.
Okay. Thank you so much for that honest answer. Other than that, do you like find something that you dislike about Philippines? Like, let's say, locals or our culture?
Personally, no, because I think my point of view is tilted, right? Because of my years living in the Caribbean. The culture here is so similar. So the kind of day-to-day living that I am accustomed to being in the Caribbean is so much the same, that something that might upset somebody else from another part of the world, something someone might find annoying, say, right? Like, I'll give you an example. Yesterday I was standing in a line to buy a ticket to get on a ferry, and I was maybe the 4th person to arrive at the lineup, but I was the 30th person to get served, right? Because all the local people come in speaking their language, and they all get served before me. So I'm observing this, and I'm like, and I'm hearing the language they're speaking, and I'm observing what's happening, and I could tell people know each other. They're all common, probably family or friends, and they just putting each other in ahead of a priority.
Yeah.
And I got served 3rd to last, and it didn't offend me because I'm a guest in your country, so I'm not going to make a scene. But that is something that might offend someone visiting the country, because there were 2 other foreigners who got upset over that and made their upset known, and they made it into a scene. Now, most people, when they look at me, and if I'm not speaking, they don't know I'm not Filipino. So I just blend in the crowd. My skin's kind of brown, my face, they look at me like, maybe he's probably like, looks like kind of Filipino. They think I'm one of the Filipinos. So if I don't say anything, then I just blend right in, right? But these other 2 foreigners, there were 2 white guys. And then, anyway, I'm just saying like something, I'm just giving an example of standing out in a lineup, right? Because if this was in Canada now, no one jumps ahead of the queue. And it doesn't matter what your ethnic background is. You can be white, black, Indian, Filipino, whoever's first gets served first. And you can be like the brother of the teller. But if you showed up last, you don't get served first because you're the person's brother. So
first come, first serve.
Yeah, so things like that might annoy someone who's visiting. For me, it didn't annoy me. But I'm just saying that's one thing that I have observed.
Well, that's true, and that's mostly the cases happening in the Philippines. Like, especially if you are in a queue, like in a rush, people will jump in or just insert it, button.
And I would add, there is one more thing that I do find annoying. And I think I was a few minutes late today, and you were early. And I'm sorry for being late for our meeting today, but because I try not to be. Actually, I was late twice, because when I returned the motorbike earlier, I was late twice. But that is one thing that annoys me. I try to be on time. If you tell me 5 o'clock, I try to be there at 4:45 or minutes to 5. But I think you guys are maybe one of the first people that I've met here that it's actually here on time. I'm like, if I say 5 o'clock, I usually like, okay, well, by 5:30, we're going to get started.
Filipino time.
Yeah, but you guys are on time. Like, oh my gosh, they're actually on time. I'm like, oh, I better hurry up because they're actually on time. So that's just something else that I would say if you're, visiting here and you got, including the ferry rides. I think even the airplanes don't leave on time. I've flown around a few times, and even the airplanes don't leave on time. So I would say if you're visiting here, just expect, whatever time you're supposed to meet someone or leave or depart, just, don't let it upset you, or otherwise you're going to be upset every day.
So what about the things that you like about Philippines and the locals?
Oh, the people, is probably number one. Everywhere you go, people are friendly, especially when they know you're not from here. Going back to what I was saying earlier, I've been treated like a foreigner in the country I was born for my entire life. Now I come here where I actually am a foreigner, and I'm treated more like, like I'm wanted.
Yeah.
right? So as a
Special.
foreigner,
That's what we are. Like Filipinos are really welcoming people.
Yeah.
It's hospitable.
yeah. And so, that's been my personal experience. And I've also observed, people of different, you know, cultural background, or whether you're a man, you're a woman, or you're transgender. There's a lot. I've met a lot of transgender people since I've been here. The transgender community is out of the closet in the Philippines, and I think that is because local people do not harass them or make them feel unwanted or unwelcomed. And so, even if you're, different, even if you're a local or if you're a foreigner, I just find that people here are more welcoming and tolerant of others, regardless of what it is, your background. So that would be number one thing that I like. You asked me about. So I would say the people and the food. The food has been interesting for me because I like organic food. So if you're talking about seafood or fruits and vegetables, it's amazing. I have been eating. I eat better here than I do in Canada, right? Because the food here, it's grown here. So the fruits and vegetables that I eat here, it's grown somewhere around here. It's picked ripe. It's not sitting around for days or weeks, ripening on the shelf or ripening on the boat. It's not ripening on the airplane or the boat on the way to Canada. You know what I mean? When you get it, it's actually ripe, and you can tell the difference. There's fewer chemicals in the food, and then the seafood, of course. It's the seafood. I love seafood, so I am spoiled. I was saying to a friend the other day, I think I eat better than the King of England because the fish I eat just came out of the water. The King of England can't get better fish than me because that fish just came out of the water. So I'm like eating whatever fish I'm eating. I'm like, hey, I'm eating like a king. Actually, like a king. I feel like I'm eating like a king. So the food's been amazing. The street food has been disappointing, and I say that because the kind of food that I eat, the kind of food that I would eat at your home, that you cook local food, isn't the food that's cooked on the street.
Oh.
I have found this in everywhere I've been in the Philippines. What you would eat at home, a delicious home-cooked meal, on the street, it's fried chicken, it's fried everything.
Yes.
It is not this delicious food that I've eaten from friends of mine that are cooking at home, at their homes here in Philippines. And I'm like, well, why is that? Why is it that you can't cook that dish? Why isn't it I don't see that on the street? Well, what I've been told is that is so because local people don't want to eat that food when they're on the street. They want to eat all this other stuff because they already get this food at home. They're not going on the street to get the same food that they eat at home. They're going on the street to get the street food, right? And so the street food now has this. I don't eat street food. But it's the reason why I don't eat the street food here, because it's too oily, it's too much fried food. You don't get a lot of this, I'm going to compare it to Thailand just because I've been to Thailand a bunch of times. And if you eat street food in Thailand, you can eat a healthy meal. You can get a full course healthy meal of street food in Thailand that you cannot get here. And I've been around a lot of places here, and I haven't seen it anywhere. So it's to the point now where I don't eat outside unless I absolutely have to, because I know I'm not going to be able to get that healthy street food that you can get in other places. Okay. So I would add that in there too.
Because I think all of the street foods are fried, oily.
Yes. And rice. And the rice, the obsession with Facebook and rice. If you are visiting Philippines, be prepared for the obsession with Facebook and rice. I don't know what's going on with Facebook and rice, but it's like everywhere. Facebook and rice. It's like the two. They should be on the flag of Philippines flag. A bowl of rice and the Facebook. Someone taking a selfie.
It's become a life now.
Yeah, it should be on the Philippines flag or on the money. Take a picture and put it on the money. A bowl of rice.
Okay, so will you recommend the Philippines to other expats since you've been here for quite long now?
Absolutely, no doubt, without a doubt. And I've had friends visit me here, but I would say that if I am recommending it, I would first want to understand, why are you traveling? Why are you leaving your country, and what is it that you're looking to do? For example, if you want to go skiing, well then don't go to the Philippines because there's no snow here, right? Yeah. But if you are looking for things that are, in a tropical country, and I would say if you want to go to a tropical country, it would be in your top 5 countries of the world. If you're visiting a tropical country, it's in your easily. It easily makes any top 5 list.
So you can say also Philippines is very for me, it's a unique one than the other Asian countries. Not just about the people, but also the environment. This is what I love as a Filipino. The environment and at the same time, the like what you said, the people. This is what I really love. So we always say in our video that yeah, you can come and visit here in the Philippines. Just try to experience if you really like and love the Philippines. And if you don't want it, then you can come back or visit other Asian countries. Then if you love the Philippines, then why not to settle down if you want, right?
Yeah. I would also add the cost of living.
Oh yeah, that's very important.
The cost of living, the cost of things, the cost of everything.
How much your monthly budget?
It depends on your lifestyle. And I live as a minimalist. I live a simple life. I wear t-shirts every day. Like, I don't dress up. Like, dressing up for me is wearing jeans with my t-shirt. Like, you know,
Okay.
and if I go to the bank, oh my gosh, I got to put on a pair of jeans, right? It's like, I don't, you know, that's the extent of it. So now, but that's just me, right? I'm not saying everybody is going to dress with jeans and t-shirts or shorts and t-shirts, right? But, so I would say that it depends on your lifestyle. I don't mind riding buses and tricycles. To me, it's why I'm here. I'm here to be among the local people and to enjoy what it is to live like a Filipino.
Yeah.
So that means riding buses and tricycles, right? So I do that. I have not rented a car. I've rented a motorbike. I don't think I would ever rent a car or drive a car. I haven't been anywhere in the Philippines where I feel like I needed a car. Now, if it's raining, I might get a taxi. But if I am on my own, and I don't, and I also I don't have children either. If you're traveling with children, there would be different considerations for getting around. Probably you would need to have a car. If you have young children, you might not want to always jump on a tricycle or a bus. But if you are a single adult or a couple, or if you're traveling with adult children, you don't necessarily need a car. So how many people are you traveling with is another consideration. And where are you living? Because where in the Philippines you live will drive the cost. So if you're in Metro Manila, for example, that's the most expensive place I would say to live in the Philippines. And I haven't lived there or spent any extended time there, and that's the reason, because of the cost of things and the traffic and the pollution and the congestion. Right now, because I've been to other major cities. I've been to Shanghai, I've been to Hong Kong, I've been to London, New York, Los Angeles. I've been around, right? And I don't, Bangkok, you know, I'm not trying to go to another city like that unless I had a specific reason to be there. So I would say if you just want to see Manila, you could probably do that in a few days or maybe a week at the most.
Just visit.
Yeah, you can visit there for a week unless you have family or friends or business to do. But if you don't really have extended family, friends, and business to do in Manila, I don't think you need to be there for more than a week because there's so many other places where you could go other than Manila to have a more authentic experience.
Yeah,
right?
true.
And then things are going to cost a lot less, right? And then you can go check out some of these other places which are amazing.
Yeah, and you can experience authentic where
Yes.
you can stay outside Manila.
Stay outside Manila because people from all over the Philippines go to Manila. But if someone who's from, you know, your city, for example, and you met them in Manila, it wouldn't be the same as coming to your city and actually spending time in your city, which is what I am doing. And I don't want to leave your city because now I've been amongst you and your, you know, community of people. I don't want to go to Manila, right?
That's
because
right.
I can just, you know, get on an airplane and go there if I need to. Right? Or if I want to go to Bacolod or Cebu, I can just get on a ferry or jump on my bike and within 2 hours I'm there.
Exactly.
Right?
So speaking of community, what do you think about having foreign community here in the Philippines? Because I saw a lot like they have a foreign community in the Philippines.
It depends on your mindset and your reason for being here. Right? My reason for being here was not to hang around more foreigners. Right? My reason for being here was to leave that behind. Okay, so I'm not here trying to talk to more foreigners. I'm here to talk to you and your wife and other people around, local people, right? Now, I've been here for 9 months, and do I have friends who are foreigners? Yeah, I do. I've made quite a few friends who are foreigners, and I'm glad I met them, and I consider them probably lifelong friends now. But I don't spend a lot of time around foreigner communities, and I don't feel like I have needed that to be able to survive, right? I have been able to figure things out on my own, and I just haven't felt like I've needed that. Now, I have spent enough time with foreigners here, and even before I left Canada, I talked to other people who've traveled here, and then now that I'm here, I have heard the opinions, and I'm part of a Facebook group of expats, right? And I see the conversations people are having, and I'm part of that, but I don't participate in those groups. I don't post in the Facebook group chat. I do not interact with anybody that is a foreigner here very often, and maybe that has to do with my own lived experience as a foreigner in Canada. Now, if you were to ask this question to someone who was not a person of color, you might get a different answer than what I'm giving you. Okay, so I'm just giving you this answer from my worldview.
Yes, exactly, because we have different, perception,
right?
Point of view. Yeah. That's right.
So I don't feel like I need to be a part of a foreigner's community because I didn't come here to be part of a foreigner's community. If I wanted to be part of a foreigner's community, I would get back on the airplane and go to Toronto.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. There's
Right?
nothing like against, foreign community here in the Philippines. Just that, in my point of view also, there's no like make sense. You come to the Philippines to still with the
to be
community,
among,
yeah?
right, to be among the Philippines.
Yeah, so why not like try to be with the locals?
Yes.
Try to socialize with the locals.
Yes.
Then that point you can learn a lot of things.
Yes. And you know what? They speak English here too. So you don't even have that as an excuse. Because I've been to other countries where English is not taught in school. It's not a first language or an official language. Right? Here it is. Right? So you don't even have that as an excuse unless you're not an English-speaking foreigner. You could be Russian, German, or from some other country where English is not your first language. So if that's the case, then I can understand, yeah, maybe you want to have a Russian community or a Czech community or whatever your nationality is, that English is not your first language. You might need that. So I can understand that.
Okay.
Right? And then you see that even in Canada, you see that. You see communities of people that are immigrants who cluster together, right? And the reason this clustering happens is not because they don't want to become Canadianized. English is not their first language.
Yeah.
Right? So if they need to go to the grocery store and get a bag of whatever it is that they want to get a bag of rice or whatever they're trying to do, right? And they can't communicate that with me walking around. If they see me on the street of Toronto and they're asking for directions, or they're going to buy something at the grocery store, or they have something important to do and they can't get those words out of their mouth because they're trying to translate into English in their head. It's a whole lot easier to speak to someone of their same ethnic background, right? So this is the reason why you see people clustering in places like Toronto. It's because of the language, right? So I'm just answering your question about the expat communities. So there you go.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that wonderful answer. So I think that would be all for today's video about your experience and all you can say about the Philippines. So, and we hope that this is informative to all of our viewers, especially those foreigners that they want to come to the Philippines. So, any last message those foreigners that or advices that you want to come to the Philippines?
Plan to stay longer than you expected. And if you're not brown, bring lots of sunscreen. You're going to need it. Yeah, you're going to get roasted in the sun. It's really hot here. Yeah. And I can't think of any. If it's your first time here, I would say it's going to be what you expect, because there are Filipinos all around the world. And as a person who's not Filipino, living in a city like Toronto, I can say that Canadians like Filipinos. Filipinos around the world generally have a positive people think positively about Filipinos being friendly and sociable and easy to approach. So if you're coming here as a foreigner, expect more of that. What you've experienced, whatever city you're coming from, expect 80 million people like that. Because this is exactly what I've experienced, and it's why I don't ever want to leave.
Nice. Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
All right, thank you so much for watching till the end, and we hope to see you in our next video.
Thank you very much.
No hate, just love, everyone.
Bye.